All right, Gautam, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure having you with us here on the program at CNBC TV 18. Thanks indeed. Well, the market is up 80, I mean, which means, you know, it's coming off the lower levels as well. That is true. But we've basically fallen below for a while now. We've fallen below where we kind of opened at. It was, of course, a gap up, and from there, things have cooled off. Right in the middle of the range. The high today is 17,176. The low is 17,051, and we're at 17,100. Bang in the middle so far. 0.5% on the Nifty. Sonia.
Absolutely. So, you know, he was talking about IT stocks, right? Yeah. So now let's get the focus back on that. KPIT Technology, interestingly, has had a good run in the last 15-20 days after it made an acquisition. It acquired a Europe-based company in the automotive prototyping business. It's called Technica Engineering for 80 million euros. Kishor Patil, who's the co-founder, managing director and chief executive officer at KPIT, joins us now. Mr. Patil, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks a lot for joining us on the channel. I wanted to just ask you first and foremost, you will get the benefit of 5 months of Technica in FY23 itself. So will this change your FY23 guidance in any way? Earlier you had said that the volume growth would be in the range of 25%, constant currency revenue growth 18 to 21%. Any change in those numbers at all?
Certainly, I think this is something which was not factored in the our guidance and outlook. So this will certainly do that. What we will do generally is once we are very clear about the date from which it starts getting consolidated at the end of the quarter, we generally will give that outlook on this specific part. And absolutely, this will be something additional to what we had predicted earlier.
So can you give us any indication of how much would this add? I mean, how much would you look to scale up, if at all, your guidance for the full year?
Yeah, I think that is something we will be in a position to give a handle at the end of the quarter. Overall, this has a revenue of the overall group has a revenue of about 43 million euros on an annualized basis. And so from that perspective, but we would like to understand this as the consolidation things become very clearer, and when the conditions precedent become fulfilled, we will be in a better position to throw light at the end of the quarter.
Yes,
at a high level, it is a 43 million annually. That's what will be the impact for next year.
So for the full year, there are some estimates which suggest that this acquisition may add about 12% to your revenues. Is that a kind of the ballpark correct figure to look at?
For the next year, that's how it will look.
24, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least 10%, and then because it really depends upon how the other business grows also. So I think we are in that situation. So at least 10%, I would say. And
okay, at least 10%. I think the reason we're asking you is because, there could be new client relationships from this transaction as well. Hyundai and Renault, we know, have been disclosed as key clients for Technica. Were they your existing clients, or will they come on as new clients for you? And any other clients that you see, I mean, any visibility for future?
I would not like to talk about a specific client, but what I may say that there are their largest clients, which are also our T25 clients, as we call. So there is a synergy, but it is a complementary. I think they are working in an area which we are not working. So in two of the large accounts, I think that's where there is a complementary. So in line with our strategy about T25, that will strengthen these accounts and make us our market share will go up in these two accounts. And in addition to that, there are a few notable disruptors they work with, and that's something we are very excited about. And that will help us, in line with our strategy. What we discuss is, apart from T25, we'll look at certain disruptors and see leading disruptors so that we can start working with them.
Mr. Patil, so post this acquisition, European exposure goes up further, right, to about 40% for you?
It is not necessarily like that. They do have revenues from USA, but absolutely majority of the revenue come from Europe, and there are certain revenues which come from US.
Okay. No, how are things looking? I mean, Europe is, of course, facing a severe slowdown in many markets. Could you talk to us about? And of course, there are lots big currency moves as well, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I would reflect on this question in two ways. One is the market size. We haven't seen anything, and I've been shared it in the past. I think the revenues. We see the client interaction, client engagement, client momentum not being impacted much. So we actually see a reasonable demand environment in Europe. So that's where at least till now we are not seeing anything. We don't see any concern on that area. And specifically, as you know, we work very closely with few clients, so we get some idea beforehand. So from that perspective, we feel it's a reasonable environment.
And the currency, sir?
On the currency,
yeah.
Yes, I mean, the currency changes happen, few quarters here, here and there. But I'm sure it will ultimately have to look at the overall global landscape. And
which is the most significant currency cross for you? Euro INR?
Yeah, I mean, cross immense, we do a direct this. So Euro is there, but I think the only benefit I may say is because of nearshore and etc. Most of the costs are also in Euro for this acquisition.
Okay. I think the reason why Prashant is pressing on that is because a lot of global companies, especially OEMs, have indicated of some pain, right? I mean, Ford recently spoke about $1 billion of costs because of the supply side issues as well as inflation. So that just begs asking whether global OEMs are cutting down on their client spends or not. You think that would be the case?
Absolutely. Absolutely, they are under pressure. They have to cut down on cost on manufacturing. They have to cut down on the cost on their capacities. They have to cut down on the cost on what I would say expenditures which are not into new technologies. So as I have been saying for many times, all the OEMs are looking for their new programs for the year 25, 26. These are very critical for their survival, or importantly for their market share, specifically in the new technology, new EV market. And that's where most of our work lies. So there is a minimal impact on this area.
Okay. Also, as you said, right, I mean, you are looking very selectively at acquisitions, especially companies that have perhaps disruptors in their clientele list, something like Technica. Anything else that you've shortlisted? Any other acquisitions in these niche spaces that would aid your revenue growth over the next 6 to 12 months?
Okay, let me put it like this. I think this itself is a big acquisition, and we would like to really focus on this and integrate it well and leverage it better. So while this looks like a European acquisition, this has impact for, this has an impact for all our clients. KPIT has been playing in the basically space of what broadly you can call software-defined vehicle, which I mentioned to you about the production program for 25, 26 and onwards. These are extremely critical. At the same time, these are very complex for the OEMs. And I think every OEM is still trying to figure it out how to really have, make sure to deliver on these programs and how best differentiation can be made, etc. Now, in this journey, as I mentioned, these are complex programs. There are a lot of new technologies which are required. Earlier, we used to talk about only certain domain aspects, but what is now becoming more and more important is the the network part, which is specifically, you can say, industrial Ethernet, for example, which is the most preferred one. Technica is a pioneer in this. I think they were the first one to really have that kind of expertise in the globally in this area. The secondly, that is very critical in terms of systems architecture for this program. and also in terms of making sure that the performance from these systems is acceptable and it is better. So from that perspective, this becomes an extremely critical point in terms of the overall offering for the SDV. Already, as you know, KPIT has been very strong. We are, I can now arguably say, the largest globally integrator, and certainly in the SDV area. With this, then it becomes a very compelling proposition and position to the OEM. So what we would look at is not only relevant for the clients they have, but really go with this across our client. And this will certainly propel growth as a company.
Okay, I think
so. That's what I would say, and we would really focus on this
sure.
and make the best of it.
Sure. You said you're the largest global what? I didn't get that. Integrator, is it?
Software integrator, yes, in the automotive software area. Absolutely.
Okay, the largest global software integrator in the automotive space. In the automotive space. Okay, got that. I think the street is very excited with your commentary, sir, because the stock is now soaring up over 3%. But thank you for your thoughts and giving us clarity on what this acquisition would do to you. That's the newly acquired company Technica Engineering that will add at least 10% incremental revenues to them in FY24, and they will revise the guidance once the acquisition is complete. The street definitely likes that, up almost 3%. Let's take a quick break. On the other side, Mitesh Thakkar will join in for some technical trades to tell us how to approach this market at 10 a.m. coming up.